Hey guys, welcome back to the Press Box Bros podcast. Before this episode starts, I would like to give another thank you to NIST for partnering with me and for sponsoring this episode of the Press Box Bros podcast. They make slingshots and really awesome slingshots. I've had the grand opportunity to test some of them out. They have just released some new bands and some new ball sizes for you guys to shoot. So go check them out online. Just type in NIST at NIST. And their slingshot should come right up. They cost around $11.59 per slingshot. So make sure you go check them out and let's get right into the podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Press Box Bros podcast. I'm Seth Chasen. Unfortunately, Micah couldn't be with us today, so I decided to record by myself today. So today we got Olivia and we got Phil Warnick, the head coach of the men's cross country team here at Garrett College. So introduce yourselves.
How we doing, everybody? I'm Phil. I am the coach. Unfortunately, I get stuck with Seth quite a bit. He's quite familiar with all my bullshittery.
Yeah, quite a. And Olivia.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm Phil's fiance, and I go to Garrett College.
So these two are getting hitched quite soon.
Yeah,
they come in the next 2 years. You said.
Probably. There's a lot more shit to weddings than what I originally anticipated. I don't know about you, but there's a lot of things you got to decide. Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah.
Okay. And I was like, well, might have to censor myself here. But yeah, there's a lot of shit to do it. I mean, like there were a lot of things I didn't count about. Like we got to do like venue, and then you got to feed everybody because people just don't show up to your wedding with no food because I guess that's not the right way to do it. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's expensive too. I mean, it's insane.
Because usually the parents pay for it. You made a comment yesterday that you don't like the handouts.
No, we're probably going to do a lot of this one around because we're both very stubborn people.
Well, I can count myself in for that.
So it's a very stubborn person. I'm not a big fan of taking the help if I don't have to have it.
So in a few words, yesterday, actually Phil and I both work at the CARC here at Garrett College as lifeguards, and he was filling me in on some of the stories he's going to tell us today. So let's get right into it. The one I really want to hear is Chalk Hill. Chalk Hill? Is it Chalk Hill?
Chalk Hill.
I want to hear about that story.
All right. So how do we start this?
It was your birthday.
It was my birthday. I had just come back from paramedic school. I was on break or something. I can't remember what it was, but I was back, and it was my birthday evening, and it was me, Liv, Blake, Cheyenne, and our friend Bailey. And we were sitting around the dorms just bored as shit. And we were like, you know what? Let's go do something. So me and Bailey had been to this graveyard before. It was it's a very old graveyard. It's rated as one of the most haunted places on the East Coast, and there's a lot of fucked up shit that's happened there. There was a family that lived there, and the husband killed the wife and daughter, dismembered them, and spread their bodies throughout the graveyard. There's a huge tree. I mean, it's a massive tree, and that they used to hang witches or people they deemed as witches and slaves off of. I mean, and then there's just down the road, there's a bridge where they used to throw like the slaves they deemed, not viable or not good enough. They would throw them off the bridge to kill them. And I mean, this is all like right in the center point. There was like Native American burial grounds somewhere. I mean, this point is like, if there's a portal to hell, it's right in the middle of Chalk Hill. And because every terrible thing you can imagine has happened there. So Bailey and I had gone there before, and we'd seen some weird stuff. I mean, you hear the noises, and like I remember, like one time we saw this big orb, like the glowing, like random glowing thing would like swoop in at our other friend Alec that was there. So I mean, you get a lot of weird stuff. Like you just see, like you hear a lot of weird sounds, and you see some. We saw this like weird movement in the woods a couple different times, but nothing like the night that we were all there. I mean, that was.
And Garrett was there too, right?
Who?
Is it Garrett?
No, Garrett was there the second night.
Okay.
So we ended up going back for a second one, but we had to go back. But so to get it started, we were at the dorms. We decided, let's do it. Let's just send it. What's the worst that happens? And little did we know, the worst did happen. But so We end up getting there. It's in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. I mean, you're in the boonies. I mean, we're
like, no service, no houses for miles.
No, you're probably a good. I'd say 2 miles from the nearest house.
Yeah. At least. 2
Yeah,
miles.
it's. I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere, and so we roll up, and there's a real tiny little like entranceway. I guess would be the best way to describe it. It's probably 8 feet across. Probably
it's like the size of a parking space.
Basically about 8. Yeah, maybe not even quite that big. It's not massive. So we get the car in, and we walk out. And to give you like a sense of scale, the graveyard is probably maybe the size of like a pool. Take like a competition pool, and maybe 1.5 times the size of that is the clearing. So it's got a little bit of size to it, but. As we're walking around, we're looking at the graves, and a lot of these graves predate even the United States. I mean, some of these things are like, 1720, 1710. I mean, there's some old graves there, which, I mean, is cool to begin with. But then you just think about the history and everything. I mean, it's fascinating. But so we're walking around, and, we're hearing some weird noises and stuff. And, nothing too crazy, kind of, what we always get. But to preface this, the one weird thing about the graveyard is that, like, when you're in the opening, like it can be raining or it can be like windy, but it won't be in the opening of the graveyard because the graveyard is surrounded on all sides by woods. So you're in this little clearing. And the night we were there, it was like sprinkling rain, and like you could hear the rain falling everywhere, but it wasn't raining in the graveyard.
That's crazy.
It's a really
it
is weird. Like you can hear the wind, like the wind will be blowing through the trees, but it won't. Like you won't
feel it.
Yeah, it's just this.
It also makes you wonder. It's like a portal, like you said earlier. It's probably like a portal.
Yeah,
to hell.
It's like it's a really
super eerie.
It is like even just you walking into it just gives you this like pit in your stomach.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So we're walking around, and I remember we saw something, or we heard something. We walked over to the far corner of the graveyard. It's all the way in the back right. So we're all in this other graveyard from like diagonally from where we parked, and all of a sudden my headlights on my car come on, just flash on.
Oh my god!
And they flashed right back off, and I was like, and Liv is sitting there, she's screaming at me, she's like, you did that, and I'm like, no, I didn't, I swear to God. Like I pulled my keys out of my pocket and like tried, and they wouldn't reach. It wouldn't work. So like we take off, or it did it again.
And like SCC like ran up to it, like it like brightened up like
yeah. So as we like ran up to it, like they turned back on. They got super bright again.
Oh my god!
And as soon as like I was the first one to the car, and as soon as I got there, it shut off.
Oh,
it was wild. It gets worse. So we're standing around the car, and Bailey, being the smart ass that he is, he decides to go, if there's anything here, make a noise. Eerily silent. It's eerily silent. And he goes, if anything doesn't want us here, make a noise. And it's hard to describe like what happened. So like we're standing there, and out of nowhere we hear this just blood curdling scream.
Oh,
like it sounded like somebody being murdered.
Yeah,
like it really did. Like it was like you had headphones on.
Oh my god!
It was
really
so clear.
Like it was wild.
And you said there's a house back there too.
No,
right?
There's no houses.
Like no, the one that the guy murdered is.
Oh, there's the foundation, but it's on the other side. This is back towards the entrance.
Do you think that you could have heard it from like? So I know they can project. They're almost like projections. Do you think you could have heard like a figment? I can't speak. A figment of like the past of.
I don't know
that event.
It's possible. I don't know because
it sounded like a teenage girl.
It did. It really sounded like somebody. Like if I were to scream into this mic, like into your headphones, it sounded like that.
Really?
You could feel it in your chest.
Oh
At least I could. I don't know about you, but like you could feel it, and it felt like it was like right in your face. But the weirdest thing was there was no like I've hunted and like I've been in the woods my whole life, and I've heard mountain lions, I've heard screech owls, I've heard all these things. I've heard bears make some weird sounds, like they'll yip and they'll saw and they'll do these like weird sounds, and this was nothing like that.
Really?
It was the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life. But the weirdest thing to me was like the pitch was steady. There was no like whenever like if you were to yell, like your pitch would kind of dip while you breathe or while you're like
it was just straight.
It was just like
oh my god,
like literally my chest rattled from this. And It was the most terrifying thing in the world. And
Bailey's a sociopath, and it shook him.
Yeah,
to the core.
exactly.
Oh my God.
And like, well, like I very much have like the fight reflex when it comes to these kind of things. Like, it's a terrible habit. Like, I've been in some situations when like calls like that, like I should probably run away, but I don't because I'm an idiot. So like, but there was this moment, there was absolutely no fight reflex. It was get the fuck out of here.
Oh my God.
And so another thing is I don't lock my car ever. Right now, my car is unlocked right now. So we turned. She was so scared. Olivia was so scared that she was frozen in place. I literally had to grab her and like push her to get her to move. Like that's how terrified she was. And so we run to the car and I pull on the car door. It's locked.
Oh my God.
And I literally
like screaming.
Yeah, because cars don't lock. They do automatically lock.
Yeah, it was
like
weird.
The cars nowadays can.
So,
but
well, my car doesn't do that.
Yeah,
my car's not that nice.
We know that because during practice we'll be on a run and your phone I'll be putting my phone in the car and you're off off in the distance.
Yeah.
And it doesn't lock.
No, it's not a thing. So I remember I stopped. I'm like, why is my car unlocked? And I literally just hear Liv, open the fucking door, or unlock the door. And I'm just like, it took a minute for it to like register. And so we all pile in and we tear out of there. I got a 2016 Hyundai.
No, you forgot the part where I got left out.
Oh, you did get left out. Blake about left her out. Like Blake got in, shut the door, and like was holding the door shut and Liv's out there falling on it, just trying to get in.
So everybody else is in the car, and I'm the only one on the outside. The door's locked, so I can't get in.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we all get in, and I peel out of there. I squeal the tires. My car is a rice burner, and I squeal the tires on the way out of there. So we get down, we get back to civilization, and so like it was funny because I didn't realize at the time, but like as we got closer, like we all got like calmed down, and like I look over and Bailey is straddling the gear shift. Cheyenne is like half cocked into the front seat. Blake and Liv are like on top of each other in the back seat, just like they just dove in, and so we're an absolute mess. This is where it gets good. So we get to the stoplight because we get back to the main road, I should say, and there's a stoplight to get on the main road. We pull over there to get reorganized, and out of nowhere, Cheyenne's like, I can't find my phone.
Oh no!
And I'm like, You've got to be fucking kidding me, Cheyenne? Are you serious? Oh, I was a little hot. So we all get out of the car and we tear that thing apart, absolutely tear it apart. And we can't find it. I'm like, we left it at the fucking graveyard. And everybody is like, like we don't need it. Like, don't worry about it.
Every single one of us is screaming at you not to go back, and you were like, "We're fucking going back."
Yeah, we are. And I was like,
and this leads to the second night.
Oh well, it gets worse the first night.
Oh,
so
right.
Mind you, this is all like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So
I was talking to just trying to interrupt the story, but I was talking to Jesse today when I was working with him this morning, and he said that he's been there a couple times, and he's actually down to go back. So I'm going to go with him if he decides to go. He said that nothing happened. He was there in the middle of the night. Would you, if I were to go, would you recommend like 3 o'clock? Because I know it's the witching hour.
We were there between like 1 and 3.
Yeah,
because that's usually when most of the activity happens.
I don't know. Like I have no like I will not be going back to that graveyard for the rest of my days. Clearly, something does not want us there, and we'll get into that in the future part of the story. Like clearly, something does not want us there, and we have no business being there. My business is settled. I'm good. I'm good. So, but back to the story. So we end up going back, and I was for sure that Cheyenne had left her phone or dropped her phone during the when we were running away.
Into the car.
Yeah. So like what I did was I parked the car with the headlights on the little entranceway, and like I was like, Bailey, like watch my back. Like I was freaked out. Like I was like I have very solid nerves. Like I don't get freaked out easily, but I was freaked out. Like I had like the adrenaline was going. Like I was ready to fight. Like I was ready to roll.
I remember you told me you were like, if anything happens to me, take the keys and you drive this car out again.
Yeah, I did because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know like what we were like. This was the single scariest things that ever happened in my life. Like I've been on calls. Like I've had guns pulled on me. And like stuff like that, and like I've dealt with like tweakers that are just out of their mind. Like,
and for reference, Phil is an EMT. He works as an EMT. So
yeah, and it's like that stuff like it freaks you out, but nothing to this level. And I can remember I pulled up and I had the headlights on the little patch, the entranceway, and I was like, Bailey, like watch my back, like keep an eye on me. And he was like, all right, dude. And I was like, get out of the car, like watch my back. And I'm like, I pull a car. Bailey doesn't get out of the car. Bailey just watches me through the window. And I was like, all right. So I walk up, and I have my little phone flashlight. I'm just like, I'm doing like a grid search, just up and down, back and forth. And there's a little gate that
It's like a chain.
Yeah, it's I don't really. It's like one of those swinging gates for like baseball fields and stuff that they have a little chain on. And every time that I would on the approach towards the gate, every time I get there, I would hear just 3 knocks.
Oh my God.
Off in the distance. It was every time I would get close to the gate, it was just.
Oh my God.
It was like it was terrifying. So like I'm up and down. Like I got my flashlight, I got the headlights on. I can't find this phone anywhere. I'm like, I'm not going back in that graveyard. Like I'm not doing it. Like I'm just not doing it. So we all get back in the car. We drive back to the stoplight and we tear it apart. I'm pretty sure we like pulled the seat up. Like we like destroyed.
We took everything out of there. Like set it on the ground.
Yeah. Like we tore the car. We couldn't find it. So we go back again. Well, I go back again. I decided to go back again.
Yeah, and took us all with you.
I did. And this time, I was like, Bailey, like, please, like, this is like, I'm hearing weird sounds. Like, I'm really kind of freaking out right now. Like, please just get out here and wash my back. So he gets out, sits on the hood of my car, and he dug out, like, in my EMT bag, I got a little switchblade, which are illegal in Maryland, but oh well. So he had a knife on him. And like Bailey is very similar. Like he never gets rattled. And we were all rattled that night. So I go up there again and I'm just up and down. And I broaden my search like into the wood line because I'm like, I don't know. So and this time, every time I get close to the end, I hear the thumps. And then I start hearing chains banging together.
Ooh.
And like I look at Bailey and Bailey's like, he nods. Bailey just nods because he's like admitting that he hears it. And it's freaking me out. But I'm like, and at this point, I kind of solidify my nerves. And I'm like, okay, like I'm going to find this damn phone. This is not going to get the best of me. I'm going to find this phone. And I'm looking. And every time, like the chains are getting louder and the thumps are like still there in the background. Only when I approach the gate. But it, like on the down tick, nothing. On the up tick, every time without fail. And then we start hearing voices. Just like mumbling. And it's the weirdest thing in the world. Like, because it's not like coherent speech. It's more of just like, it's almost exactly like it is in the movies. It's like you can hear, it's like a whisper that is just loud enough to you can hear somebody whispering, but you can't make out the words. It was the freakiest thing in the world. And I look back at Bailey, and Bailey just looks at me, all wide-eyed, like he doesn't know what's going on. And like we look. I was probably there for 10, 15 minutes.
That was a good one.
And there were a couple times I really had to stop and just
you back up a couple times.
Yeah.
And you just like put your head down.
I bet it was felt like an eternity for you and the people.
Because like she said, there were a couple times I had to just I step back, breathe. I'm like, you're fine. Like if you can handle this, like deal with it, compartmentalize, focus, work on the problem. And it was I looked. I could not find his phone.
Oh my God.
And eventually we just give up. We give up and we're like, I don't know what to do. So we ended up going back to the dorms. We dropped the girls and Blake off, and we head back to Bailey's house. And we sit in his driveway till like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, just trying to think of like if it was somebody fucking with us. And like we rule out every possibility, because I know you. It's Cheyenne. Good God, she probably made everybody deaf by how loud she yelled. Like if there was somebody fucking with us, like they would have just lost it.
We immediately knew like it wasn't one of us.
Yeah,
it was like, but like because everybody screamed. Blake, me, like everybody was like, "Whoa!" I mean, it was wild. And like if somebody had heard that, they would have started laughing. I mean, there's no way.
Plus, like we would have heard them sneaking up on us.
Oh yeah,
there were leaves on the ground.
And you probably would have heard for the screaming. It probably like if you said it sounded like it was off in the distance.
Well,
but
it sounded
also
like it was right. Like you could feel it. So like
it sounded like it was getting closer, but like you couldn't hear it moving towards you.
Yeah, it was. And
was it like in front of your face, or was it kind of like all around?
To me, it felt like it was right in front of me. It felt like it was like directly into my chest. Like I could feel like my bones rattle. That's how loud this thing was. And there was no echo. That was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, you normally if you make noise, it's echo. Yeah, even now we're echoing.
Yeah,
on the podcast.
Well, like our screams echoed. Like that was the weird thing. Was our screams echoed, but this thing didn't.
Oh my God!
It was the weirdest thing.
I mean, even if it were like someone put a tape recorder out there, like that, you still hear the kind of the mumble and kind of like
Because we even
cracking.
looked, like, the second night that we went back, like, we took flashlights, we looked in the trees for, like, speakers
Wow.
or
Yeah, we
cameras.
did. We
didn't
tried
find
everything
anything.
to do this. So we ended up going back the second night to look for Science Fan. We took a fucking army.
With probably 20 people.
Wow.
We did. We had a pile, and like everybody had like
Everybody had
spotlights.
knives. And
Yeah, so we had a lot of people with us, and I remember we were right at the gate, and Bailey started recording, and out of nowhere we just hear this yell.
It wasn't a yell.
It was something. It might have been the knocks. I can't remember what it was. It's on Bailey's phone. We'll have to look. But there was you could hear something. Like it was either the knocks or a yell. I can't remember exactly for sure. But it was something. We got it on video or on audio of the video. And so we're looking around. All of a sudden his truck pulls up. And we're like, oh fuck. So I'm like, let me do the talking, guys. Let me talk. And so the guy walks up, he's like, I want to see the graves.
Creepy old man.
Yeah, he was a creepy son of a bitch. He walks up, he goes, let me see the graves. I'm like, look, we're just here looking for a phone. Like, as soon as we find a phone, we're out of here, I promise you. And he's like, I want to see the graves. If I have people vandalize them, I want to make sure it's not you. I'm like, we haven't even touched them, sir. I can promise you that. We're not here to do that.
It's like, we're out here late at night, so this is like super weird for this guy to show up.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably midnight or 1.
Yeah.
And this guy just rolled up. It was weird. So we go and we show him all the graves. He's like, okay. He's like, what are you looking for again? I'm like, we're looking for a phone. My friend lost her phone. And he goes, okay, well, I can promise you we get a lot of people coming in out here. I promise you that you're probably not going to find it. So we're walking back to the car. I was going to give him my phone number so that if he found the phone, because he's like the groundskeeper owner. I don't know exactly what he does, but he was like, if you find a phone, just give me a call. And right at that moment, Blake finds the phone leaning up against my tire.
Like in the tire track.
Yeah.
But because there's no way because when you're driving off, it would have just.
There was wasn't a scratch on it.
Oh my God.
Wasn't a scratch on it. Took a day and a half to recharge.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, I've heard of technology doing that around paranormal.
It was like before this, I was a hardcore skeptic. I was like, I didn't believe in any of that crap.
Now you're a believer.
Now it's like there's stuff out here we don't know. I mean, we don't. And even after that, we had some weird stuff. Because remember, like Bailey had this vape that would just randomly go off after that night. Really? Never before. It would just start randomly. Like you would just hear it go. Shh, shh.
Oh wow!
It would do it in three times.
That's been a theme. 3 knocks.
Yeah,
and then
it was weird. He ended up throwing it away because it freaked him out so much.
I was driving down the road, like there were like no street lights or anything, and this like flashing light starts going off in my back seat.
And then that night at Bailey's house, remember we were walking down to my car and we heard that weird thing in the woods. It was
a tree.
It was like this tree. It was like a tree that was like creaking, but also tumbling and like falling. And Bailey and I went out there like a couple days later. There's nothing.
Oh my God.
It was
and
weird.
Then Bailey said a couple days later he was at his dad's house where we heard that tree fall, and he heard like a girl crying outside of his window.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
We had a lot of weird shit happen. And so Bailey and I did some research into this, and our theory, if any of this is true, which I mean it's possible, I don't know anymore. But our theory was that it was a banshee, which a banshee is a Scottish mythological figure that is basically a protectorate of somebody. And I'm pretty heavily Scottish on my mom's side, and I mean it lines up, and it kind of makes sense that it happens when Bailey asks if something doesn't want us here. Maybe it's protecting us from something. Yeah. I don't know. I have no desire to go back to that place. My business is settled. We found the phone. Something clearly does not want us there. The weirdest shit in the world, man. I tell you.
I mean, that makes me want to go even more. To kind of I just want to.
Crazy.
I'm one of those people that are like, I see it to believe. I'll believe it, but I want to see it.
I'm the same way.
And because obviously I'll bring my camera, catch stuff on there, and it
was wild. Is the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
Wild because, like I said, it was like I was a hardcore skeptic until that night.
That's just crazy.
Just thinking about this gives me the wills.
Yeah, I'm having chills down my spine. And I wasn't even there.
It was insane. I mean, it's hard, and it's one of the stories. Like whenever you tell, people look at you like you're a nut job.
Mm-hmm.
But all 5 of us, it was you can ask any of us, and it will give you basically the same story. I mean, because it was weird. I really just don't know. I don't have any words to explain that evening. I really don't.
That must have been scary, especially to find the phone in the least the spot that
Like,
wouldn't even land
ran over
there.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would have landed there, and it would have just been destroyed with you guys tearing out of there.
Yeah, well, we went back. We pulled it in and out of that spot 3 times that night.
Yeah, and it would have been destroyed.
And it was, and there wasn't a scratch on it. And I didn't hold it, so I don't know. You said it was cold.
It was really cold.
Yeah.
It was like
now,
ice cold.
do you think that maybe someone found it and put it there just to scare you guys, or?
And that was one thing Bailey and I talked about, and I guess there's some credence to that theory with Blake finding the phone, being, he was there the first night as well. But it doesn't explain the fact that it was cold, and it doesn't explain the fact that it took over 18 hours to charge.
Yeah, because usually when phones die, they take 10, 20 minutes to
turn
get
back
to
on.
turn
Hers
back
didn't even
on.
turn on.
That's insane.
It was, and then that doesn't explain the weird shit that happened afterwards. Maybe that's our minds drawing correlations to random events. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's too much that night that I can't explain.
Now, when you guys went there, did you have the mindset of like something's going to happen, or did you have the mindset of like, oh yeah, it's probably bullshit? And,
This is the first time I had been there. Like, he'd been there before, so I was like, oh, they probably just fuck with each other all the time. Like, nothing's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then, sure enough,
every time I've been there, something has happened. I kind of expected. I didn't know something happened because we had so many people with us, and I was like, because especially people are loud and stuff like that. Because when we've had groups there about that size before, nothing's happened, and mainly because people are loud and it's hard to hear things. So things could be going on, but you just don't know. Like, I've had some weird stuff happen there, but only whenever it was like small groups and like you're paying attention to it. So I didn't expect anything to happen, but I was also like, it could. I didn't expect anything like what we got. But
yeah, it's definitely a lot of it's really cool to kind of now hear it, because you've been teasing me with this story. Like, I've been like, I really want to know what happened with Phil at this graveyard. And it's definitely a cool story to hear and to kind of see like, wow, like someone I know actually came across those phenomena that no one really comes across.
Yeah, it was wild. It was.
I bet. I mean, especially since you're an EMT, you see a lot of things that are scary and that are, people shouldn't have to see, and that not really scaring you, but then this scares you.
It rattled me to my core. I mean, there were. I had the adrenaline was pumping that night. Like, it was so much. Like, my hands were shaking at times. Just, it was pure adrenaline.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that was like the first time I've ever experienced like true fear.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, because you were frozen stiff.
I could not move.
I literally had to like grab her and like throw her to get her to move. Like, she was just entranced.
That is crazy. I've been to places, creepy places, but nothing like what you're talking about.
Yeah. Like I'm all for going ghost hunting, but just not at that place. Like,
are there any other places around here that are?
There's some really old places up near a high pile. I mean, that's one of the oldest sections of the country. I mean, there's some graveyards there that are probably about the same age. I mean, and Pennsylvania was a big slave trade area too, so you got a lot of that. But I mean, there is some old stuff up in Ohio pile. I mean, I used to run up there a lot. I mean, just go up there, drive until I found like some kind of trail and just go explore it. And I mean, Ohio pile is a very old park to begin with, and then you just get some of these old historical monuments and stuff that are just like locked down, you can't get to. I'm sure there's some cool things to explore back in there that I just haven't found yet.
Yeah, I mean, anytime like go ghost hunting, I'm down. Like I'll bring my camera and all that stuff.
Because I would love to go up there to High Pile and do that.
And did you ever end up going to the bridge or the house, or just the
house? I remember one night. This was the weirdest thing in the world, because we went. There was a group of us that went. And we went down to explore the actual foundation of the house, which is only about probably 25 meters into the woods from the corner of the graveyard. So from the far corner of the graveyard. So we went down there, we were looking around, like you can see there's just like the old foundation of it. I mean, it wasn't real big, probably about the same size as the room we're in now. So no, I mean, it wasn't real big at all. And we were down there walking around, and there's no real path to it, so you got to kind of eyeball it, which is not a great idea to do at 2:00 in the morning. So we were walking, and we got down there, and we were coming back, and we kind of lost our bearings, which isn't real common for me, because like, I mean, I'm pretty, like, especially in the woods, like I've been in the woods my whole life, like I'm pretty good at like sticking to an area or keeping my sense of direction, I guess would be the better way to say it. And like we got down there and we were just so backwards, and we started walking. And like the one kid took the front lead and I took the back lead just to kind of make sure we didn't lose anybody. And we were walking and I felt like we were walking like in the wrong direction, and we were like walking on like a big curve is how I felt like we were walking. And we were walking for probably 15 or 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden
for 25 meters?
Yeah, well,
wow.
And then all of a sudden we come out exactly where we came in.
Oh my God.
It was weird.
That's weird.
It was a weird feeling. It was a really weird feeling because like I didn't feel like we were heading in the right direction at all. And I felt like we were turning. I felt like we kept bearing one direction. And all of a sudden we came out right where we came in. Wow. It was a weird feeling.
And then because how long did it feel like walking in?
Walking in didn't feel long at all. I mean, minutes. I mean, I felt like we were walking for 10, 15 minutes on the way out.
Wow.
It was a weird feeling. It really was. And that's one of those things that like, it's just like, it's hard to describe, but like, you just feel like something's off. Like when you're something just doesn't feel right about the direction or the amount of time. And we came out right where we came in.
Oh my God.
It was weird.
And I mean, that's weird that, it took that long. And the bridge, did you guys ever go on the bridge?
No, it's further down. It's like a mile or two down the road.
Hey guys, so we're going to take a quick break from this episode of the podcast to get a word from one of our sponsors, Anchor. So Anchor has been helping us create this podcast for you guys for the past couple months, and we want to really thank them. It's an awesome tool to use. It's free. I mean, seriously, who can argue with something being free? All right. I love free stuff. It's free. Seriously free. I'm not joking. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer, which I do both. I actually do both a lot of the times. Anchor can and will distribute your podcast for you. So you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and quite a few more. And if you want, you can do it yourself. You can distribute to other websites as well. Now, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. I'm going to repeat that. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. And it's really everything you need to make a podcast in one place. You got, editing tools, you got, background music, you've got, you can get voice messages from your listeners, and it's great. It's a great thing. It's a great tool. So make sure you go download that free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Now let's get right back into the show.
Yeah, it's further down the road. I think I've driven by it, but I don't think I've ever actually been to it. Because you're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, the road you're on's
like a dirt road.
It turns into a dirt road because the graveyard. I don't know if the graveyard's on a dirt road, but I mean it's a backcountry road. I mean it's
like gravel.
Yeah, it's not like a road. I mean you're in the middle of nowhere.
Wow, that's crazy. Like because there's a bridge, old wooden bridge by my house, and it's called, I forgot what it's called. I think it's Jericho Bridge, and it's supposedly haunted. I went there one night with some friends, and nothing really happened. You're supposed to see either purple like kind of mist in front of your car with your headlights on, or you can see a woman hanging behind you, or someone will push you across the you'll see little hands if your car's dirty, and you'll feel your car moving forward if you put it in neutral. When you get out, you'll see little tiny hands pushing you across the bridge. Wild. But we went there. We waited there for probably 2 o'clock in the morning. We're waiting there, and nothing happens. We're like, well, screw it, let's get out of here. But we went in with the thought that something is going to happen. We're gonna come across something that we never did. And I've always felt that when you're going to those places, haunted places, and you feel like something's going to happen, nothing happens.
Yeah.
It feels like you need more.
Or
it's unexpected.
I think you'll also get into those things where people want things to happen so bad that their mind starts to imagine things.
Yeah, because when you were with a group of people, and when they all hear that, that's solid proof that something did happen.
Yeah, because And I think it adds credibility to the story that we had so many people with us. Because if it was like just me and Bailey, yeah, come on, guys. Like, I mean, this is bullshit. Like, when you got 5 people, like,
it's like we all have like the exact same story. So
yeah,
and
we were all there.
I mean, it's definitely creepy. Like, that would be. I mean, it'd be cool to experience, but like at the same time, it's got to be mind-numbing, like just creepy that happened. And then as soon as it was Bailey that said, if something doesn't want us here, make a noise.
And it made noise.
Oh yeah,
it made a big noise.
And now, were you in the graveyard at that point, or were you just outside?
We were on the other side of the gate.
We're close to the car.
Yeah, because we were. I mean, it took me 3 steps to get to the car.
Bailey was the furthest away because he was like sitting on the gate. And like he was the first one in the car.
So he was agitated. Might have agitated something for
going in. I don't know. But we weren't even in the graveyard at that point, and it was every time I got close to that gate, like it was something like it either wanted me in there or it didn't want me in there. Like come in and get fucked up. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean that's creepy, and especially since you're EMT, you're usually scared by the things, and you've said multiple times that you kind of lose kind of like your sense of, just morality. You kind of got to make jokes to kind of get by some of the stuff you see. And, I mean, tell us about some of the stuff you see.
I've seen it all. I've seen it all, done it all. A lot of bad stories. A couple funny ones. So I remember one time we got called as a drug den. It was me and my preceptor Alyssa, and we got called, and there's an unconscious guy on the floor. So we hit him with Narcan, which was probably shouldn't have hit him that quick, but oh well. So we hit him with Narcan, and he wakes up and he's all pissed off, like he's super upset with us. And we're like, God, what is wrong with you? Like, what's your deal here? He's like, you stole away my high. I'm like, you were gonna die, bro. Like, what is your problem? He goes, I paid good money for that. And I was like, Jesus Christ. And he ended up leaving before the cops showed up because we don't have any authority to detain people. So, yeah, it was.
Did they end up finding him, or did they just?
I have no idea. It's not my place. I just make sure people don't die.
I mean, because when I go hunting abandoned places, like you always expect, like you don't know what's in there. Whatever happens, gotta keep your head and kind of like
you're very on guard.
Yeah, you're very on guard, and that's what I like about going to abandoned places, going like hunting for, like, I haven't really been ghost hunting, like real ghost hunting, and you always got to be like, if someone's fucking with me, like that's not cool, but at the same time you're like, you don't know what's going to be there, you don't know what's going to happen, because you could be, for all we know, if I go to some abandoned place, I can be walking into a drug den.
Oh yeah, and see, that's one thing I would love to do. I'd love to do more of that urban exploration stuff, because I think like abandoned place is fascinating.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's an awesome feeling going in there, seeing the preserved history, like not well preserved history of a home or someone else's life.
Yeah, it's just it's interesting to me, because I remember I was telling you about this. I don't think I've told you, is me and Rex, one of my best friends, Rex, one time went to this abandoned boys camp up in Pennsylvania, and it was basically just shut down one day out of the blue because the government cut their funding, and Rex's dad was like the head of this camp, like he's the guy who ran it. And so we went up and just explored, because we were like, yeah, why not? So we went, then it's this huge place. I mean, it's a huge state park. And I mean, the camp itself was probably 15 or 20 buildings.
Wow.
I mean, there was a ton of abandoned stuff up there. And it was just, so we're up there just exploring. There's like a pool, and then there's it's not like a real, it's like the pool was carved into the bedrock. So it's like a rock pool. It's pretty cool. And then there's the headquarter building, and then there was a kitchen and all these things you just go explore. And it was super interesting to go through, because we ended up going to Rex's dad's office and finding some old of his old certificates and things. And we ended up taking him back to his dad. And it was super cool just to see overnight this place got shut down. They didn't do anything. They didn't clear offices out. They didn't do anything. And we ended up going back, because Rex grew up in a house that was in the park, and we ended up going there. And it was all boarded up. We ended up getting in, and it was interesting to see Rex walk through and talk about, oh, this used to be my room. Oh, this was the living room and the kitchen, and this place that is just overgrown, and just it was really interesting.
Yeah, that's what I kind of felt when I went to the Tomb School for Boys. If you haven't checked out the video, I'll link it down below. But I was recording with a buddy of mine, and we went to the Tomb School for Boys. It's in Port Deposit, Maryland. I'm sure you know where that is.
I think it's close to.
And so we went there, and it was weird because it was quiet. It was really quiet, and we were fully expecting other people to be there because it's always a poppin' place, especially in the daytime. But we went through multiple we went to 3 buildings, I believe. And it was cool to kind of see like the kitchen and then kind of like the history. And when we were walking back, we almost got technically chased out because we saw flashlights behind us. We're like, fuck, we need to get out of here.
Gosh.
And it was sketchy as shit. And then, we saw a sign as we were leaving that it was built in 1901.
Wow.
So it was pretty well preserved from 1901. There were a couple of fires there. One of the roofs were just caved in and just done for. Went in the basement. Found some weird like chicken wire, but like a door. It was almost like a door, but it was like some wood, and then chicken wire was completely bent in. And it was really weird. And I mean, it could have just been wind. It could have just been, it'd be old, but we didn't think. We thought that something was being held there. Because it was it's an old naval center, training center. So it could have been something like that, or it could have been anything. And it was really creepy, And I love that feeling. I love like, oh my god, like what's happening?
Yeah.
I was wearing a whole bunch of layers because it was cold that night and it was kind of drizzling a little bit, and I'm like, I'm feeling cold, like under like 2 layers of sweatshirts, and I tucked my sweatshirt in, and I believe I had these jeans on, and it was crazy. Yeah, and I love just exploring that stuff.
Because I know there's an old insane asylum down in Cumberland it's up on top of this big cliff face. I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but there's like a park that overlaps, and it's one of the older insane asylums in the area. It was shut down in like 1934.
Oh wow!
Like right in the peak of when they were like doing some nasty stuff to people, like toothpick or ice pick lobotomies and stuff. Yeah, they're like right in the peak of that era. And just walking around, like you can like go up, and there's all that's left is the foundation. But like you can still see like where the walls would have been in the foundation, or where there was like like cells almost is what a lot of them look like. It's like there'll be like like bricks in, and then like just big compartments. Yeah. And it was like we just walk around. It's just this eerie feeling of just like I think all the history that's happening here. Think all the crazy things that that they were allowed to do back then. That are just like you're just like when you look at it now, you're just like you guys are idiots. Like you think sticking an ice pick up somebody's brain's gonna fix them.
Oh yeah, I mean that'll kill a person.
Yeah,
like right away.
You sneeze while you're doing it, they're dead.
Yeah, I mean I'd be the dumbass to bring a Ouija board there and try to figure out just kind of contact some shit because why not? And then bring home demons to the dorms. Next thing demons are running around the dorms. We actually had a fire alarm last night, 10 o'clock.
That was not fun.
It was not fun.
It was raining and it was freezing.
Yeah, and 30 minutes later, I'm in my room. I spill fucking grape juice and cranberry, or I think it was cherry grape juice, all over the fucking carpet, all over the wall, all over my bed, and on my door to my cabinet or closet. So I was up till 3 a.m. cleaning my clothes, putting them in the wash, I only got an hour of sleep.
Oh my gosh!
And like that's what I think you both saw my story this morning. I'm like, or last night. I'm like, yeah, loving life right now. But it was, but yeah, so shit like that's gonna start happening, and like fire alarms going off for no reason.
Well, you guys have to have like so many fire alarms per year, right?
It was somebody. It was the people who live across from me. They were like cooking something, and their fire alarm had been going off for like 15 minutes, and they never shut it off, so it set off the whole building.
Which you can set your own thing off.
There's like each room has like a separate.
Yeah.
Okay. That's smart. And then people are stupid.
Because when we were walking out, I now live on this. So you're walking the dorms here. I live on this side now, on the second floor. We were going down the steps and we're walking out, and we're like, holy shit, there's a lot of like gas or smoke, and we're like, holy crap, like that's a lot of smoke. Like you must have been burnt, like setting something on fire for that to be that much. That much. Yeah, smoke.
Like you can imagine how much it was, because like where my room is, and like it was people across from me. He's all the way on the other side of the building.
You're down there. Oh, I feel bad for you. Like all the noise.
Yeah,
I would be able to deal with that.
Yeah, because she's right on that main floor.
Oh, because the people next. Are you on this side?
Yeah, like if you like walk in, like I'm to the right.
Okay, so you're next to 1-4. I was actually supposed to be one or one. I think it was 114 or 104.
That's the one that was set off the smoke detector.
Of course, yeah. I was supposed to be in that room. Then I moved up to the one I was in last semester, and then I moved to a new one. But yeah, like I don't think I would have been able to last because I lived above the room, the room 115. They were loud as all get out, and hell, I could barely even stand that.
I live next to them.
Yeah, and I bet
I got
they had a
worst of it.
subwoofer like.
Plus, like the people above us are so obnoxious. Like it'll be like 2:00 in the morning, and they're just like jumping on the ceiling.
I was getting that last night. I was like, I wanted to scream, "Fuck you! I'm trying to sleep," but I'm like, no. Wake up my roommates. I don't want to do that. And then, of course, I failed inspection today.
Really?
My room is a pigsty.
Will took my candles away.
What? Oh, probably because of the fire hazard. Yeah. That's dumb, though.
Yeah, I see there's a fire yesterday, and now Bonitz over here's got, open candles everywhere.
But yeah, it was, like, it's annoying because living in the dorms, like, it's fun. It's good, nice college experience, but you get people there who are just, like,
so obnoxious.
They don't care, Like I mean, I think I've told you some of the horror stories from my roommate.
Yeah, because I remember that one bus ride. You were hot. Whew, you were hot.
I think it was the night. Actually, yeah. So the night we came back from nationals, but I was still pissed over that too because he had left our front door unlocked, and because it was 9. We got back 9.
I don't know. I remember I was wiped. So I walked into your room and passed out. I was toast. I don't remember.
I forgot which ride it was though. Those
because if it was nationals, we got home pretty early.
Yeah,
early for
because we left 12. You left something.
You got back around like 10.
Yeah, because we got to the hotel at what, like 11:30.
Yeah,
and that was a painful ride.
It was. Well, it was bad because like it was raining, so you couldn't drive the speed limit. And I'm in this monstrosity of a van that I hate driving to begin with. And like I was like, and that was a miserable car ride.
I can't believe they didn't send you guys on a charter bus.
Yeah, that was
there's no money in cross country, so
and plus like we're a first year team. I think we're hopefully we're gonna have a bigger team next year.
But I mean, like,
but shout out to the boys. Love you guys. Good luck in your future endeavors. But you got us fuckers in the back, like just talking.
Yeah, I was just like,
I'm not going to even repeat what we said.
I remember I looked at Dale and I was just like, these kids are morons. Like these kids are absolute idiots. Like I don't even remember. There was some stupid, and plus didn't help. Bubba was all jacked up on bang, and the kid's got ADD to begin with, and then it's just like giving crack to a meth head. Like he was just loaded. Like. I think he literally twitched for like an hour and a half, and then he was out. Like I remember because we pulled into the thing, and I was like, "You all right there, Bub?" He's like, "Yeah, coach, I'm good." And like he was like half asleep, just standing there. I thought he was gonna pass out like while I was checking his in. And then I remember because I had to fill out a bunch of paperwork so we get our rooms, and I was like, "Bubba, go get the license plate off the van." He goes, "What?" I'm like, Garrett, go do this. Like, yeah.
And then we were doing like Never Have I Ever, and that turned into a shit show.
Yeah, that was a disaster and a half.
I can only imagine.
It was bad.
Richard surprised me. I actually saw Bubba last night I went to the Southern Wrestling meet. They won by a pin. Shout out to the Southern Wrestling team. For those of you who I know who are listening to this, good job, guys. They won by 1 point. It was 36-37. Wow. They won by a pin in, I believe, the second period. But I saw him last night. He was helped him coach the basketball team at Southern. So he's doing good for himself. And we saw him. I was with Davey, and he was walking in. I'm like, "Oh shit, is that Bubba?" And he's like, "Who's Bubba?" I'm like, "Oh, he's one of my teammates from the cross country team." Like, "Hey, Bubba!" Did no response. Bubba, and he's like looking around, and I'm like, "Over here." And he's like, "Oh, what's up?" But I saw him. I haven't seen Christian.
Christian's still down at Bill's. He's still working.
Yeah, and then I haven't seen really anyone else except for Garrett, Bubba, and Richard.
Yeah, because Zach's down at Frostburg now. So I texted everybody that I don't see, on a somewhat regular basis the other day. I got a hold of everybody and talked to him for a bit. Everybody seems doing pretty well.
Yeah,
and I think I think everybody's okay. Everybody's, hating school right at the moment because
I feel that.
so.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, it only gets worse, fellas.
Oh yeah, it really. This semester is definitely a workload. I have hybrid classes now, and I've never had to do hybrid classes.
I have those too.
Like I have Dale, who's also the other cross country coach. His class is fun, but it's like I always forget to look at Blackboard and see what's due. Hell, I had a test due yesterday. I still have been either too lazy or just haven't had the time to do it today.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been like, shoot, I need to do it. And I'm like forgetting about it for hours. Oh, I need to do this. No, I don't feel like doing it right now. Yeah, that's the kind of mindset I have right now.
Shout out to Dale was probably the best thing that ever happened to our program.
Yeah,
hands down. Like I got a lot of the credit for what we did and what we got done. But I mean, Dale,
Coach of the Year, Conference Coach of the Year, goes to Phil Warnick.
Yeah. That was a fun day. That was probably that day was the first day the team clicked.
Yeah.
And we steamrolled.
We did.
We worked them over left, right, and center. It's like, so we won that race by 18 points.
Yeah.
And to put that in perspective for people who don't really know, like cross country is the lowest score wins. So there were 38 people in that race, there were 42 people in that race, which means if our fifth place guy had gotten dead last, the next closest school would have had to have had their fifth guy in 20 seconds to tie.
Yeah, we
to
kicked
tie
their ass.
us. Like we worked them over.
I told the boys, before the race, I'm like, guys, if we win, I have to dye my eyes. Originally I was gonna do tips.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, tips will look stupid. So I just dyed the front of my hair blonde. And then I said, guys, for regional race, which I think regional race was definitely difficult because of it was not fun.
That was a hard course.
Yeah,
a very difficult course.
They confused us too.
And it was a confusing course. We weren't very well prepared for that because we didn't have a course map. We didn't have anything. We were literally winging it.
Yeah.
And we did well, but nobody had a good day. Nobody ran well.
I think we all set PRs. And that was Richard's first race.
And because nobody looked good though. Nobody looked.
Yeah.
But nobody looked good, and it was. But then, when we put it together, we did well.
So, guys, we got to wrap this up real quick. We're getting kicked out of the library here. But I want to thank both Phil and Olivia for coming on today. Mike will be on hopefully next week. We'll be recording same day. But thank you guys for listening, and tune in next time.